to the Talkies. This is the Talkies.
Here to talk about Stanley Kubrick some more.
Yeah, KubrickCon.
KubrickCon.
I said it. KubrickCon Part 4.
This is not a convention.
That's good. That's just my name for it. You don't have to.
No. You cannot have your name. You cannot have your name with this.
KubrickCon.
Okay, that's
KubrickCon Part 4.
Actually, I'm down for KubrickCon.
Today we're covering The Shining.
The one that we should have covered last time.
Yeah. So we did Eyes Wide Shut. And then we did Full Metal Jacket. And then we did Barry Lyndon, Barrytown. And then we...
now we're doing Shining.
Yeah.
And then we're going to keep doing them.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing them, man.
We're going to keep doing Kubrick over and over again.
Until we run out.
Doing them over and over.
What's next?
Go again.
What's next? Is next 2001?
Next is Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork
Orange.
Dr. Orange.
Clockwork Orange.
Dr. Strange Orange.
I think that's Agent
and
Orange.
Then 2001.
Agent Orange. Annoying Orange?
All right. Clockwork Orange and then 2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So we saw Shining.
We saw The Shining.
We watched The Shining.
Yeah.
Yep. So who wants to start? Do you want me to start?
I think The Shining is a very, very, very good movie.
That's a controversial opinion.
I think it's a very good movie.
You're really just going to start there. Jeez.
And probably,
Taylor.
Probably my favorite horror movie.
Oh my god.
Damn. Okay, well, let me go next then.
Okay.
Because I'm just going to spit in the face of what you just said. Of the 4 movies we have covered thus far from Stanley Kubrick, this is my 4th favorite.
Oh, interesting.
There you go. So let me just drop that.
Wow.
Now, asterisk on that, it is an excellent movie. It is an excellent movie. Not gonna. All right. Now, asterisk to that, I didn't think it's scary at all.
I have a lot to say about that.
And I would put it. I have a hard time even ranking it as a horror film because it doesn't feel like a horror film.
Now, you were just
in the same way.
Fundamentally disagree.
In the same way, what was it? Hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
Hereditary, in many ways, didn't fit the mold of traditionally defining a horror film, and yet was intensely scary.
Yeah, I don't agree with any of that.
So Hereditary is a better horror film than The Shining, hands down.
Uh-huh.
Shining is a better movie than most movies in the world, but the 4th best of the 4 we've seen so far. But has the best music of all the Kubrick movies I've seen.
Okay.
There we go.
So I'm going to take
Those are all my opinions.
I'm going to drop something
throw 'em
here.
out.
Terrible soundtrack. Soundtrack is the worst thing about this movie.
D, goddammit. Tell the truth.
Okay. Soundtrack was pretty good.
That music was incredible.
Yeah, it's the best music ever.
That was the star of the whole thing for me.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
Followed by cinematography, followed by set design.
You don't get to talk
followed by nothing else.
You don't get to talk about this movie anymore. This movie's incredible. I love this movie so much. I cannot get over the fact that it's old. I don't know why.
It doesn't even feel
you
old
have
to
issues
me.
with that.
I have issues.
You really have age. You're an ageist.
Yeah, you are ageist.
Film ageist.
It's funny, I don't even feel like Shining is old.
Yeah, it feels that way to me, unfortunately. And same with actually some parts of 2001: Space Odyssey. But we're talking about Shining. So I think the movie is scary, and I compared Hereditary to The Shining when we talked about Hereditary. They both have, I think, good, the same rhythm, but I do believe The Shining is the superior movie to me, anyway.
Compared to what? Sorry, what?
Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of Ari Aster's slow-moving stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw this movie, I was 14, somewhere around there. I was like 13 or 14. And I remember being interested in it because I was aware of Stanley Kubrick at the time. And I was interested because it was a horror movie. And I was like, oh, man, this is probably going to be really scary. And I remember watching it. And I never felt scared at all at any point whatsoever. I was enjoying the movie. I thought it was good, but it didn't like unsettle me even. I was just like, oh, this is just interesting.
Yeah.
Until the very ending, the last shot. Something about the last shot and coming into Jack.
The picture?
Yeah, the picture. And having him in the picture and then seeing 1921.
Yeah.
Something about that like deeply unsettled me.
How did 14-year-old Taylor interpret that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
What did you think that meant?
I had no idea what that meant. I had no meaning whatsoever for that. But the idea that it was just like there was something there that was way more. There's something under the surface of the whole movie that that I wasn't aware of that was kind of revealed. Something about that scared me. And then on this most recent rewatch, I've seen this movie probably like 7 or 8 times. And on this most recent rewatch, I found it to be the most scary watch through I had of it. And I was able to get that because I rooted myself in Danny's point of view for the whole movie. And so I was seeing everything from his point of view as somebody with the shine, him knowing that his dad is going to go crazy and attempt to kill everyone the whole time he knew that, and sitting in that dread. And to me, I felt like the horror of the whole movie is derived from the dread of knowing that he's going to go crazy in the end. And I thought that was really cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, I promise not to say this more than 3 times in the
But the book is...
So just let me have 3 strikes, okay? So I'll take my first one now. And that is, in the book, the book is heavily rooted in Jack's POV. Like, you get his internal monologue through really the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the things that kind of lost me a little in the movie is that Jack feels very undeveloped.
Absolutely.
You know? He almost seems crazy from the get-go.
Unintimate, at least. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And but in terms of scary, there was one moment that I thought was very disquieting in the film that I thought worked really, really well. And that was when the mom comes around the corner and sees the furry going down on the man. No, I'm serious, because like
that's what it is.
No, I'm serious. If you think you're alone, it's one thing to just bump into somebody, but it's another thing to bump into something that's so obviously not supposed to be in this time and place.
Sure.
There's just people like having a party. There's like an orgy going on with someone in a dog costume, and they just look up at her like she's the one that's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
That would be the most freaky thing.
Actually, you know what? That's the thing. That feeling is what really screwed me up with Mother in that movie. Because everyone else is like, you're crazy.
Yeah, it's like gaslighting.
Yeah, and she's gaslighting. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Oh, that was it. That was just saying that moment was, to me, the scariest moment in the movie.
Yeah, I had the same kind of I think I had the same experience you did in that sense of like, I was underwhelmed the first like couple times I saw it, because I was like, Jack Nicholson in this movie, he's obviously really crazy, and his performance is way intense.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's bordering over the top.
Yeah, which there's a funny anecdote Steven Spielberg has about that.
Really?
Where he saw The Shining the first time and he was like, "Man, I don't know, Stanley, you kind of overdid it with Jack there," and he was like, "Yeah, well, maybe you're right," or something like that. But then he like came around or something over time. But like,
well, it's become iconic. It's completely iconic.
Yeah. But
that
besides,
screwed me up a little bit. Is how iconic it was too.
Yeah,
because I'm ageist.
Yeah, and you're like, well, okay, now he's gonna say, "Here's Johnny."
But but I think seeing like, I don't know, the perspective of like maybe just Jack being a straight up kind of a antagonist side character. It works really well in that perspective. That's why I enjoyed like going like imagining Danny as the main character is really interesting perspective.
I always imagined Danny was the main character. I wouldn't say I saw it from his point of view, but I feel like his point of view was shown way more than the others.
I don't think we're ever in Jack's point of view the entire
movie.
You're
not at all. You're like walled off from
it.
Yeah.
Which is like obviously the exact opposite of the book.
Yeah. You get Danny's too in the book, but way
you get a strike
more
now, Taylor.
Way more Jack.
Yeah,
you said the B word.
You said the book.
Oh shit! Damn.
3 strikes and you're out.
You have to leave.
You have to leave the table. I want to say the scariest part of the movie for me is I want to say it's conceptual. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's the part where they're in the hedge maze at the end, and Jack keeps saying to Danny, "I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you," and it's like that playful dialogue between a dad and a son, but it's about murder. Like just really fucks with my head. I'm like, that's really disquieting.
But Sam, that's what kind of disappointed me was I just felt like that could have so much more impact if I felt like an arc from him, like knowing that inside somewhere is a guy who genuinely loves his son.
Now that's what made Hereditary so interesting. Right, is because it was a family drama first. This one, like you said, because book, sorry.
One strike.
One strike. We're all on a strike.
The supernatural elements in
Yeah.
it are much more pervasive
Yes.
in the book than they are here.
Yes.
They're still in the story though, and because of that, I think Stanley just kind of he put them in there because they're there.
Yeah.
But because of that, we don't get a full arc from everybody, and yeah, it feels a little.
The movie
incomplete.
takes on a whole different purpose. I feel like.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
But it feels like it didn't go all the way. I think is what you're trying to say, right? Is
Yeah.
that it doesn't go all the way into that alternate. Like I feel like it should have gone more into the. I should explain. I'm trying to say what Kenny is trying to say is that it should have went more into family drama as opposed to where it ended up. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like we didn't see him go insane.
Right.
I felt like he just was insane.
Well, so when I was reading interviews from some people from the set, the producer, Jan Harlan, was talking about how in the elements of the script, it was written so that supernatural elements were haunting the characters, right? That they were getting involved in, what do you call it when demons take over?
Possessed?
Yeah, they were getting possessed. And that was just the whole thing with Jack, is that he was just getting possessed, and it wasn't like a internal like thing that he's slowly going insane and then goes completely insane. It's just that he keeps getting possessed by this spirit, or maybe because that's just kind of because Kubrick just kind of left it open to interpretation.
Yeah.
But that is how it was written.
I think one of the scarier scenes for me this time around was the sequence between Danny and Jack when they're sitting on the edge of the bed, and
That's
Danny's
tense.
yeah,
That's
Danny's
very
like,
tense.
you don't want to hurt us, right? Or he's like, Dad, do you feel bad? Like that line, I was like, whoa, that's a crazy line.
What was he saying?
He's basically confronting his dad about his
about the
visions
previous-
of like
Gotcha.
seeing murder and stuff like that.
What made you feel scared about that?
The way because it's a child processing extremely heavy things.
Oh, I see.
So he's sensing his dad is in this awful place, and he says, he's like, do you feel bad? Right? Like how does a kid understand that?
Yeah,
like that's a really rudimentary
And
way.
that was
really
maybe my
freaky.
favorite performance moment from Jack.
Yeah, I think
was
that's a good one.
He looked like someone who was trying to fake sincerity.
Yeah, and he was being actually like confronted with that too, and he was like taking us. He's like, "Would you hurt us?" And he's like thinks about it, like the fact that he even had to stop and think about it.
So this is where the ageism comes in.
Yeah.
About the film, a lot of the acting, especially in the parts that were in the beginning, the normal parts, felt very of its time to me. And, and when I say that, I mean if you look at other 70s movies, they all have the same kind of line deliveries where they're announcing as opposed to acting in the moment. And this announcement kind of thing I feel it so much. And so when it comes to scenes like that where Jack is supposed to be silent and pensive with his child, it doesn't feel silent and pensive to me. It feels like he's waiting for his line, and that he's doing things that Kubrick said to do, and it's only because it's old. That's the only reason.
To me, the worst moment for that was when the mom is pacing back and forward with a cigarette alone in the room, saying, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Oh well, we could take the snowcat, and we could escape. Even if Jack doesn't come with us, we could get out that way." And like that was like. That's like a relic of the 50s,
Right.
you know?
Right.
It's like, well, how are we going to show this? We're just going to have a character talk to themselves.
That's what I mean when I say that kind of stuff. Because like when the interview part, it always gets me weird because Jack looks evil while he's interviewing, and I don't know if that's intended or not.
I think it's just his face.
I think it is.
I don't mean like he's trying to be that way. I
think
mean, like,
it is intended.
You think it is intended?
Yeah.
Because like the way he acts, it looks like he's already at that point of being a weirdo. And I'm like, if the point of the story is to make him go from super normal guy to over the top insane killer, then we started in the middle. And
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure though that like that really is the point of the movie or not.
What would be? I
feel like the point is the dread of knowing that he will get to that.
I think
not necessarily how he gets to that.
I think if you view it because this was the first time that I viewed it completely. But I think if you view it several times in a row, I think that's absolutely interpretation you could make, and it makes more sense that way. But I don't think anyone's making... my argument would be, if you were to watch this movie for the first time and you couldn't get that out of it, that I'd say that's a failure on his part.
I don't think that... I think you can make... I think it's awesome when you can make a movie that almost requires multiple viewings. Like, I think that's awesome.
Why?
Because I think you can achieve things... I think you can achieve some more interesting things that way.
I think you can dig deeper.
Yeah.
So if you're...
You can go a little deeper than just surface level, and then it's something that you can revisit multiple times in the future and still get value from.
Sure. No, I would agree. But I wouldn't say... Like, what if you just misinterpret it, is what I mean. Is like... What if you interpret it as one thing upon the first viewing, but upon the second viewing, you're just like, oh, that's what it was about, and like suddenly you change your perspective. I think that's interesting. I don't think that makes a good movie, though. I'd say that makes a weird message.
I disagree.
But why?
I don't know why.
Okay.
I just do.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I think just a more complex, thought out film tends to go that way.
They tend
naturally.
To. Yeah.
You know,
I think they do.
And you know, there's not a lot of very simple movies that I feel drawn to go back to over and over and over
absolutely.
again.
Yeah, like Overlord, for example, was a movie that had super simple plot, and I'm not going back to it.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in watching Overlord again, even though it was a good time at the cinema.
And A Ghost Story, and what was it?
1917.
No. Under the Skin, I was going to say, and A Ghost Story are two movies that I feel like had plots that were almost barely there, so much that I feel like they're incredibly complex, and I really want to, even though I didn't like Under the Skin, I really want to keep watching it and see if there's something more I can get out of it. And with that, I love rewatching movies for that purpose. But I don't like the idea that you can watch a movie and then not understand it at all at the beginning, and that it requires multiple viewings. That is silly to me.
Why?
Why is it silly? Because I feel like if I don't know. I guess I feel like if a linear experience should be a good experience.
Oh, linear. Now we're putting things in boxes.
Memento. You ever seen Memento?
That's technically still linear, just backwards.
Yeah. You never skip chapter selection scenes when you watch a movie?
I only watch VHS.
No,
There's no chapter selection.
No, only VHS, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're telling me you don't take the tape out and cut the tape? Oh.
Okay, what I'm saying about linear experiences is that I like okay, so personally I like to enjoy movies. I like to sit down, watch the whole movie, and get an experience out of it and be like, oh wow, that was cool because of this, blah 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 blah, right? And I can go share with friends the experience that I had. But if I sit down, watch the movie, and then I'm like, well, I guess I gotta watch it again before I even talk about it, for other people. That's weird.
I love that. That's literally a mark of like all of my favorite movies is like I have that experience. It's like I was like, oh,
ones that you can't share with other people.
Yeah, where I was like, I feel incapable of talking about. That's how I feel when I watch The Master, Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master.
Sure.
I was like,
no, absolutely. I feel that way about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you rewatch it and
awesome.
Being disoriented by beauty.
That's different though, because like not Magnolia.
Like talking about Melancholia.
Yes, thank you, Melancholia. For some reason, those two titles, Melancholia is beautiful, just a beautiful, beautiful film, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And same with just editing, rhythm, and tone. Also, I love the state of mind that the movie puts me in. But
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
It's just a
state of mind thing.
And Climax also is a movie that I feel like I could grasp, enough of it and enjoy the whole experience. Also, the experience was phenomenal in that movie. But it's enough to where I could kind of describe this one, but then to actually know it, I'd have to go back and watch it. And that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like being challenged to watch it harder.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't like misunderstanding it the first time.
Yeah, it's not I need to watch that again because I don't get it. It's
that's what I mean.
Oh, I want to dive back into this and watch it more intensely
to see if you can get more out of it.
Because I know there's more here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
It's treasure hunting.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm like somewhere. I have some hybrid version of that where it's like I'm okay with not understanding and not getting elements of a movie, but if there's nothing compelling me at all to come back to it, I'm obviously not going to go back to it.
Right.
So I have to. The movie on a first viewing does have to win me over, basically.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
Okay.
To
so
want to go.
So
back.
I think that's what it is. Then for me, the threshold is just higher. What is?
I think higher. That's the right word. Right. Yeah. I have a
just
pretty
higher for that.
pretty low threshold for that.
I have no interest in watching a movie I didn't like.
Yeah.
I won't go back again.
Well, that's very much that's very much me. Yeah.
I have to still have like it.
That being said, I mean the movie. This doesn't confuse me at all. This movie doesn't confuse me, and it's funny because I'm going back to the articles. The producer was talking about how Stanley really didn't care about the content when he made it. Apparently, that he was like, it's a ghost story. I'm just gonna make a ghost story, and he's like, it's supposed to be a fun horror movie, right? Let's just make that. And so he makes it, and people were questioning like simple continuity.
Yeah.
Like, oh, why do you have that scene at the end? And he's just like, cause it's ghosts. That was his. That was his answer.
I kind of hate that. That's
It's a cop out.
frustrating.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true.
No, that's from the producer and from the writer. Yeah, that was from what they said. But in spite of that, because the movie won me over so much, I don't care whatsoever. I've completely
You're
divorced.
pouring meaning into it anyway.
Yeah. I might as well go that way.
Yeah, the continuity is insane in this movie. That's really well documented.
Yeah,
People have. I think the ultimate unintentional piece of trivia that people throw this movie around is how the sets were designed to be confusing geography wise. If you lay out the all the tracking shots of the movie and put it on top of the Overlook Hotel, you get these crazy geography where they're like going in on themselves and like going into rooms that aren't actually there that lead outside. And the interpretation is that it was intentional so that way it would be disorienting for the viewers, like it's a living place.
I want to see that applied to like other movies, to like 1917.
Yeah.
Be like, see, in 1917 they actually only traveled 200 yards.
And I don't think that's intentional because Kubrick didn't care about continuity in this movie.
Right. Absolutely.
He was strictly just like scene to scene, what makes this the best scene regardless of continuity.
Yeah. Trying to do what he wanted to do and nothing else.
Yeah.
And didn't care.
Yeah.
That's what's
I respect
odd about
that.
that to me.
I respect it.
Yeah. You look a little short in your frame there. Oh yeah, wow, you've grown. Your headroom keeps disappearing. Hey, cinematography, right?
Oh
Dude.
my god, dude.
How about that
freaking
bananas helicopter shot at
Holy
the beginning?
crap, dude. That whole opening sequence.
Did they
That
freaking
whole-
sideswipe a car?
That's what I was
Well,
thinking.
basically.
You're like so far away, and it's like you could almost see into the car, like right on him. And then I'm like,
was
dude,
like,
that was dangerous.
That's
Yeah.
I was like drone shots.
I'm like, I know how they could do that now, but that was a dude in a helicopter.
Yeah, I kept thinking that too.
the widest lens.
Yeah.
Just the widest lens. That opening shot is crazy.
It's so good.
And
It's
I
so good.
love, especially the first time in the hedge maze,
Oh yeah.
where they have this crazy wide lens
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's tracking backwards, and it does this insane parallax thing where the walls almost seem to be like melting away as they move.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It looks really bizarre.
That's interesting. I really liked the miniature idea that they did.
Yeah, I love that sequence.
I don't understand how they did it. Is that
It's a matte
compositing?
painting. Yeah.
It is matte painting.
Yeah.
Okay. That was awesome.
Yeah, the top down maze shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they cut the two shots
Two together,
it
yeah.
makes it look like he's
He's
looking
looking down on them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah,
sequence
that was
so
amazing.
much. That's
Yeah.
just like, that's cinema right there.
That was
That's
very
awesome.
disorienting
Yeah.
too. I'm like, wait, are they gonna do a reverse and show him looking?
Yeah.
It's like huge.
you know, like,
Dude, so I thought of a fun little interpretation of the movie where some of the cinematography, some of the geography of like the wides, like it almost feels like every room in the Overlook has a wide, and every time we come back to that room, we come back to the same kind of wide shot, or at least different rooms kind of have the same sort of shooting. And there's that one just outside of their room that they live in that ultimately Jack breaks down 2 doors. He breaks down that first door to get in, and then the second door to the bathroom. And they used the same shot to show him breaking down the door as they did in the very beginning of the movie when they were introducing it. It was the same like profile, kind of wide. They walk up, go into it. And I thought it'd be interesting to see what it would look like if you like drop that into like an editor and then layered those 2 shots on top of each other, and you could like match cut it to like the future where he's like their happy family going into the room, and then that's the same shot. He's maniacally just chopping it down. And that reminded me of like how The Shine works in this movie, where they get these flashes of history, things that happened tied to the location. So it's like the room 237, a lot of awful things happen there. So there's a lot of evil spirits or dark things that are attached to that room. And so Jack's acts of evil at the end of the movie will be tied to that same place. So it was kind of funny to think of get these flash forwards of what will happen, knowing that, with the same kind of shots too. It's really interesting because we keep revisiting these same angles in different contexts. Like how it's a visual thing, so I'd have to show the shots side by side.
I know what you're talking about, the exact shot.
It's the same way. It's the same way that Danny rolling down the hall sees the twins. Yeah. They're there and then they're gone. You can have the same kind of thing if you know what happens, where they walk in, and because what I did was the shot itself and the location reminded me of the shot at the end when he's breaking down the door. Yeah. So as I was watching the beginning, that happened, and I was like, oh, geez. But it was the same angle and everything. Yeah. So I was like, I'm shining.
You have that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So on rewatches, you have the shine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I was disappointed with the use of Dick Halloran because
in what
in the movie. So he's the cook.
No, I know who he is, but were you gonna reference something else using that character?
I'm disappointed in the way they used the character
as opposed to something different.
I'm not going to fall for that yet. I'm saving my strikes. I'm just saying that in this movie, he ultimately served 2 purposes. One, to explain The Shining to the boy. I forget his name now.
Danny.
There you go, Danny. And the other was to bring them a means of escape, to deliver them a snowmobile. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like a really cool character was just kind of pointless.
I loved his death because
I hated it.
It felt tragic. It felt like a character who was it felt this way to me because I think so many movies have it so that you have a secondary character like that who comes in at the last moment to save everybody.
Yeah.
And he was doing that clearly, and then they took it away, and I was like, I love that.
It just to me it felt very much like I felt that intent so clearly.
Yeah, it felt dark to me.
I mean, it felt like I'm going to kill the person who's supposed to save them.
You felt like clever. That was. You felt like what?
I felt the cleverness of that decision, and
why does that bother
me? Because it was too obvious. It was too clever.
But that wasn't in the book, right?
No.
Strike 2.
That was your strike.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say the B word now.
Yeah, okay, say it.
In the book.
Okay, that's strike 2 for you.
Yeah, thank you. Dick Halloran has a much more defined connection to Danny, where they have conversations over time. Halloran's, of course, is a very developed character. You get his whole family history and stuff, and does play a role in saving the family and getting them out. And he doesn't get killed. Spoiler. Book spoiler too. Wow. Anyway, so my point of why I felt that way when he was killed, I saw that the axe go into his heart, and I go, oh, he's dead. And I go, oh, I see what he did. He was like, because book readers are going to be like, here comes Halloran to save the day. Oh, no, he's dead. That's crazy that they killed him instead of him doing what he did in the book.
That's
what
awesome,
it felt
though?
like to me.
That's awesome.
It would have been awesome if I hadn't read the book.
That's really... funny to me because that's another form of interpretation. Because I'm going to talk about the articles again.
Everything's interpretation.
Okay, cool. In the article about the writer said that, what was it? They experimented with deaths in the movie because Kubrick felt like he needed some sort of permanence in the movie, and he didn't want to do anything gory, but he did know that he wanted the character to die, and so they experimented with different ones. They said, okay, what if Danny dies? What if what's her name dies? The wife, and they eventually got with Dick. Eventually, they said Dick should die, but it wasn't a formed thing. They weren't trying to be clever about it because they originally decided on Danny, and was like, okay, Danny's gonna be the one to die. And Stanley felt bad about the cut afterwards, or felt bad about the write afterwards, so he changed it.
Did he die with an axe into his chest?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. But yeah,
intense.
But yeah, he said it felt really, really bad, so he didn't want to do that.
So I'll use my last book reference to say this: that
You're out.
You're out now.
Of course, coming into this viewing, I knew that I would be very jaded by the book, because since my last viewing of this film, I've read the book probably 4 or 5 times. I'm a big fan. And the thing that I found had jaded me the most was that the film felt extremely tame, like G-level tame, because the book is way more violent. Just, extremely violent.
I'm glad we got all your references to the book out of the way.
Now they're out of the way. Well, I can't not talk about it because it completely changed how I experienced the movie this time.
Yeah.
You can't.
Newsflash: everything
not be colored
changes,
by it.
Everything colors your vision.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why everything's an interpretation, and there is no objectivity in the world.
There's none. Ever.
I love how not violent The Shining is.
Me too. I like the tenseness. It's funny because a lot of people talk about Hitchcock and his ideas of what creates stress in the viewer and stuff like that, about withholding information and stuff like that, and it all works for film student type of thinking. You're just like, oh, okay, so if I hear a noise in the back and the character looks that way but I don't cut yet, then it creates a tense moment, which is great. I think that's a fine thing to do. But I felt like this movie was a tense atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like it was a very stressful atmosphere.
Yeah.
And,
It's kind of, I feel like he took atmosphere took a little bit more precedence than anything else in this movie. I feel like,
right. Yeah, it didn't feel designed.
It did it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that's why Hereditary we keep talking about.
I was just about to say, Ari Aster says of Hereditary, he said that he wanted to make a movie that felt evil.
Yeah.
And I think he was successful in that.
I think so too.
But I think
he was very influenced by this.
I was gonna say, I think The Shining is a movie that feels evil too.
It does.
Yeah,
The Shining feels cursed.
Yeah, it feels like a cursed movie. Yeah, like to its bone.
I've got no qualms with the atmosphere of this film.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah, that's why I like that opening sequence where it's like just that evil sounding death march and on the Moog synthesizer, and then these insanely wide helicopter shots as we follow their car up to the overlook. It almost felt like this point of view of like some evil spirits who are like following them, right?
It even did with some weird Dutch like stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of like flying,
that's interesting.
Weird stuff.
I like
and
that.
That mixed with the music
and
the knowing the whole context of the movie.
It's like, music
I'm going to talk
so cool.
I'm going to talk about the music. I'm just going to be the hated one here. I'm sorry.
It. Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Okay, so the music, let me get this out of the way. There are a few things that I don't like about the movie. Even though I love this movie to its core, I don't like some things. I kind of hate them because they feel really weird and cheesy and stupid. One of them are the cutaways to show what The Shining is thinking of at that moment. I think those were hilarious.
The flash cuts to like dead bodies and stuff.
Yeah, except for the freaking blood in the elevator shot, because it was amazing.
God tier.
But that's that is a long shot though, and the shots that I specifically hate are the like
flash.
Yeah, the 5-frame flashes, and those are like they feel. I don't know if it's just the time or not, but they feel what's the word? Amateur. They feel amateur to me, and it's probably because as an editor when I was younger, I did shit like that, and it felt really poignant to me at the time, and then I look back and it was cheesy as fuck.
Yeah,
like,
and I've done that too, and so is a ton of when we did short film roundup, like
right.
you see stuff like that.
Yeah,
all
and you
the time,
see that stuff. Dude, you and I just saw one that just 2 moments ago. We watched a short film that did the exact same thing.
Those cutaways are very cliched now.
Yeah, so maybe it's the cliche now that's coloring that for me. The other thing I don't like is the snap zooms, because the snap zooms don't feel genuine to me. They feel out of place. They don't feel like they belong in this movie. And I know Kubrick does snap zooms just in most of his movies. He just likes doing them. And it felt weird. I didn't like it. And the music felt cheesy to me. Almost all of the music, except for some moments. Yeah. No, I feel this way.
I hate you.
I know.
I'm filled with rage.
With rage. I love it. Yeah.
I love
Fight
you.
me. Fight me.
Well, okay.
No.
I mean, no.
Yes.
Oh,
Kenny, you do it.
Kenny's on board. He's like, yeah. I mean, no. I mean, I was joking.
I used to listen to this soundtrack all the time.
I want to explain. I love the music itself for the music's sake. How it's used in the movie, I think, is hilarious. There are some parts.
that's offensive.
There's some parts in the movie that feel amateur, and I think it might be because, like you said, the cliches are colored.
Kubrick he's a new filmmaker. He's kind of getting his bearings.
because he's so old, right? And so he influenced a bunch of people to do shit like him.
Yeah.
And then because of that, I watched that shit first, and that colors my vision of his film. So
then you don't really have a problem with it in the movie.
No, I have the problem with the cliche.
Yeah.
So but that's what sucks about it is, like you said, everything colors your vision. You're talking about it. So the context that's been created for me is so bad that I look at that kind of movie and I think, like, even with Barry Lyndon, it was that way when the moments came in that were very obvious to me, but they were obvious because I've seen the cliches over and over before. And so, like, the scary music at scary parts was stupid to me, and that's why I liked Hereditary, because I didn't do that. And so, anyway,
there were a couple times where I thought a few music stings were a little bit cheesy, where like
I liked one where he pulls the paper out of the typewriter, and there's a huge cymbal crash.
I loved that.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
I think it was the snap zoom to what's the dude who dies name? What's his name?
Halloran.
Dick Halloran.
Snap zoom to I think when like Wendy saw him dead or something, and then there's like that sound. I was like, that's pretty much the only one that took it out for me.
I love the music.
Me too.
To me, it kind of held the movie together because, like I said, I had some issues with this film. The music and the atmosphere just made it a place I could stay. I could just stay there.
Well, I wonder if the same thing will happen with people who are going to watch Tenet later on, because the trailer music for Tenet sounds a lot like Inception, and Inception created a huge buzz because of the blah sound. And so I wonder if that's in Tenet, how many people are going to think it's cheesy as fuck because of Inception.
He better not do that.
That'd be interesting.
Jeez. I don't even like thinking about that movie anymore. It's like I'm scared because as each month keeps adding on to this,
you keep thinking it's gonna be worse.
No, it's like my anticipation gets higher. Like it's becoming it's not even a real movie. It's like a fabled artifact. It's like the Holy Grail, some sacred object that like someday we'll be allowed to see. And I feel like we'll just be too hyped.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, well, that was an okay action flick.
I've been trying to separate myself from it just because I know it's never gonna come out.
That's bad, man.
But see, I could see something like that happening, like Nolan being like, "Look, pandemic's happening. I'm just putting this movie away, and I will get it out when I want to."
Yeah.
And it just disappears, and 8 years go by, and he's like, "I'm releasing Tenet."
Yeah.
And it becomes the biggest story ever.
Because honestly, if they do straight to video, I almost don't want to watch it straight to video. Like for my first viewing, I want to watch it in the theaters.
Same here.
And if it's going to take a year,
Well, they're
I'm
having
going to wait
an
a year.
epic battle over that because apparently it has to make $800 million
I was reading a little bit about
break
that.
even.
Yeah.
100 million.
Yeah. And when they're
It's like they can't do that with a streaming release.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know
They
that.
need a blockbuster level theatrical
that's
run.
and the
crazy.
longer they sit on it, the more
The harder it's gonna be.
gonna,
Ooh, that's bad. Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like that. That's
because
terrible.
it's like the longer they wait, now public interest is gonna start to dwindle.
Dune's going to be in the same boat.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking about Dune also. Yeah. You know what is Tenet and Dune are cursed movies?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Must be.
Guess so. The Shining is a really, really good movie.
And it's out, and you can see it.
And you can watch
That's
it, yeah.
The best part
Yeah.
about The Shining
Yeah.
is you can see it.
I've even seen The Shining in theaters before.
Oh,
That would be
hey,
awesome.
It was awesome.
I would love that.
Weird thing, when I looked up The Shining for streaming on Google, I saw the ratings, you know, how they have it on the top, and they were all decent. It was like Rotten Tomatoes had 86, IMDb had something, I don't know, fair, and then Metacritic had 66%.
That's odd.
And I was like, wow.
I've never really met anyone who dislikes The Shining.
Well, so that
Well,
was
most people didn't like it when it came out.
yeah, I was gonna say that was the
yeah.
thing
wasn't
that I
that
read.
the case with most of his movies?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
most
is.
of his movies made money, and that was it. Just made money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like broke even.
Broke
and made,
even.
made some
Become
money.
critically
Yeah.
acclaimed later.
Become critically
Yeah.
acclaimed 20 years after.
Yeah.
yeah, he's the Van Gogh of
Hey,
movies.
Yeah.
just so you guys know that I have somewhat of a soul inside of me.
I never doubted it.
Well, I don't know. You were pretty disturbed by how much I
related with,
empathize with Barry Lyndon.
yeah.
I wasn't disturbed. I was just saying.
I think
that's-
you were
I don't know. I
He was-
saw you shaking your head.
I just hated Barry Lyndon
yeah.
as a person.
I have no empathy for Jack Torrance.
I have no
yes,
empathy with
yeah.
Danny. So
I don't have empathy with anyone in the movie except Danny.
I don't have empathy with you guys. How about top that? Top it.
I don't have
Stanley
empathy for
Kubrick.
Stanley
I don't
Kubrick.
have the capacity for empathy.
That you're a sociopath. That's not a laughing matter.
Pizza guy.
I'm hungry.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Hold on.
I'm holding.
Let's talk about the book.
No, that's a fourth strike.
I didn't do it.
You're
I
out of
just
here.
You're
said-
out.
You're
Yeah,
out of here.
leave,
Get
Ken.
out of here.
I ain't going nowhere.
Get
There,
out of here.
I just
Ain't
want to
going
share
nowhere.
that there exists a musical artist who go by the name of the Caretakers, who were directly inspired by the aesthetic of old sounding like old 1920s pop songs.
Yeah.
Filtered through a shitload of reverb and like really a tiny like tons of delay and vinyl scratching, and they're called the Caretakers, inspired directly by that Shining.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they have a whole album where it's just like a bunch of like old 20s songs they found that are just like super haunted.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's
I
interesting.
Yeah.
loved the ballroom and bar sequences.
Those are some of my
yeah.
favorite
That is the
moments of
best.
like anything.
Oh.
yeah.
and the
Okay.
bathroom.
Yeah,
I gotta-
that's some of the
That
best
is
ever.
so good.
Yeah.
I gotta share my favorite scene.
Please.
Favorite scene for its concept, not for its shooting style or anything like that. But the scene where Jack is talking to Grady through the freezer door, the keeper
yeah.
door, and Grady unlocks the door for him.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that so
Yeah.
much.
Well, that's
That's a big moment.
God damn, in the book.
Oh, Penny.
No, you're out now.
I don't care. It was my rule. I made it up, so I can undo it.
Rules are made to be broke.
And I'd say in the movie too, that's they really made you walk this line of trying to figure out is this supernatural or is this going insane,
Yep.
right? And you never have a completely definitive answer until the door gets unlocked.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you're like, what the?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, last factoid then from the article from the producer and the writer. They address that. They
Yeah.
address the supernatural pervasiveness. There was a scene that was cut out of the movie that Kubrick apparently, whenever he cuts out scenes from movies, he has them destroyed systematically. Apparently, this is what he does.
This is just a maniac.
Isn't that weird? It's cool because he says the writer who worked with him said that Stanley likes to live in the moment. So what he does is, if he makes a decision, he sticks with the decision, irreversible. And
Damn, dude.
So that's one of those things that
Maybe he is a psycho.
Yeah, makes him crazy, right? So that's what he did. He
Went, like, defending him, like, he's not that crazy.
Yeah, he deleted the scene that was a scrapbook of
Yeah.
you guys know the scrapbook.
I know.
Yeah,
No, I know.
of the scrapbook.
Yeah.
So the only thing that
also know.
exists,
You see it on the table at
Yeah.
one point.
the only
There were
thing that
scenes with
exists
it.
from that scene is that scrapbook prop,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the scene anymore.
Yeah, but
And-
the scene, they did shoot scenes with it. Yeah.
Well, and he makes reference to it. He says, "Hey, you're Grady. I know what you look like. I've seen your picture."
Yeah.
But we've never seen him see the
Right.
picture in
So,
the movie.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
did.
And I
shoot
thought
it.
that was a little weird that he said, I'm like, when did he see
Right.
Grady's picture?
Right. So the
Disintegrated, that's when.
yeah. So the disintegrated scene is him basically confirming that all of this is real. You know.
Right.
That there's no ghostly things going in and out of supernatural. It's just this is all
It
taking
is
place right
supernatural,
now.
yeah.
This is completely real. And yeah, but Stanley didn't
So
like that.
none of us have seen Doctor Sleep, right?
I have not. No.
Okay, so we had heard this statement that I've heard it both ways, that Doctor Sleep is a sequel to the book or sequel to the movie.
I need like a counter
And
on the screen or something.
people are like are debating, which it's a spiritual successor
Right.
to, and some people got really pissed that they used footage from the movie in the
Right.
trailer, right? But the trailer shows Ewan McGregor walking around the inside of the hotel, right? Remember he like peeks through the hole in the door and stuff in the trailer.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie, but my prediction is that it's not really like, I bet they took some set design stuff from The Shining, and they probably took the Overlook designs from The Shining, but I think the story that they're going to be telling will have more to do with the book than the story in The Shining. That's my prediction for a movie I've never seen.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to see it.
I do too. We should do Talkies on it.
I definitely want to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
when I will unleash all my book references.
Oh, do it. Do
all
all
of them. I'm not going to make any effort to hold it back.
We should watch 1912 and In the Tall Grass and all that other stuff.
What's 1912?
It's another one.
Another one take.
No, another. yeah. It's exactly. It's from Stephen King. It's a story by Stephen King.
I really like In the Tall Grass.
It was fun. That's a fun movie.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty cool.
Is it pizza time?
It is pizza time.
I am so hungry.
Me
Hey
too.
guys, I have a question for you.
Yeah?
If The Shining was a pizza,
I'd eat it.
what kind of pizza would it be?
A good one.
Okay, cool.
Well, all right, I'll tell you what it'd be like.
Okay.
All right, so
Are you
imagine-
comparing it to another pizza?
I'm comparing it to the book
The
pizza.
book pizza.
No. So I'm going to tell you about a pizza I read about once. No. So you get delivered this beautiful pizza, right? And it smells so good, and you're starving, and you're like, thank God. And you open it up, and you pull out the slice. It's like, it's not too hot, but it's still hot,
Yeah.
The cheese is still in that melted state, but it ain't molten. You know what I'm saying?
It's not molten.
Right, and you go take your bite, and just as your teeth are sinking in, you look to the side, and there is a man in a dog suit giving a blowjob to a dude in a tuxedo,
Oh, I was gonna say not to you.
and they just stare at you like, "Why are you here?" And then you turn around, and your slice of pizza is covered in maggots.
Oh wow.
And then, bomb, 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 bomb,
What
bomb.
what
That's
happened?
it.
What happened?
That's
Huh?
awful.
That's it. That's.
You give it a really bad rating.
That's
I
like an
hated
evil
this,
pizza.
hated this movie. I hated it.
That's
no.
good. That's
That was my pizza rating, but I like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay,
Cool.
okay,
Gotcha.
good,
Gotcha.
good, good.
Excellent.
That's what I want from a pizza experience.
All right. I can appreciate that. That's pretty strange. It's kind of out there.
Yeah, but it gets me going.
But it gets you going.
Yep.
So you know,
Yep.
whatever floats your boat. I'm
Oh,
not
it's
one
floating
to.
high. High tide, baby.
I'm not one to
High
judge.
tide.
I'm not one to judge whatever floats people's boats.
This boat is leaving the water and going to space.
Hey man, whatever floats your boat.
How about you, Taylor?
Taylor? For the podcast probably didn't make any sense there.
Kenny looks to D.
Kenny looks at says Taylor.
Hey Taylor.
Okay. This is a pizza that everyone has talked about. Just everyone
Yeah.
that I know has talked about this pizza. And they said, you have to meet the chef, right, who makes this pizza. He is the most incredible chef ever. You go and you take slices of pizza and you eat them, and it's like the best pizza you've ever even had. The ingredients were designed to be on certain parts to hit your mouth at certain angles.
Wow.
You know, and give like the umami on this side, the sweetness on this side. And then I go to get it, and I'm just like, oh wow, hey, that does look pretty good. And I eat it, and I'm like, that's pretty good. But that's I mean, it's just a good pizza. It's good. It's definitely the best pepperoni pizza I've had, but that's just a good pizza.
I like mine better.
That's cool, dude.
Is it?
Let's hear it, Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's hear yours.
this is a pizza. It's similar. It's a pizza that has everyone who's ever eaten it tends to have very different reactions to it. Some people think it tastes like something.
It's like when you do shrooms.
Yeah, exactly. People taste different things when they eat this pizza. It's the same pizza, but people are tasting different things.
Yeah.
And when I eat it, it tastes like a absolutely perfect pepperoni pizza that has like the crispy, like to the edges of the pepperoni are
cup-shaped pepperoni.
Yeah, they're kind of like
crispy,
brown and crunchy.
A little bit of spiciness.
So it's
And
like a
the
little
grease
bowl with
is
little grease
pooled
in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And as you're eating it, every bite is absolutely amazing. Every single bite, the whole way through, all the way to the very end. You eat all the crust, every single bit of it, and it's all absolutely fantastic. And I have zero complaints.
Well, you heard it here. The Shining, not a scary movie, but very good.
I thought it was a scary movie, dude.
That was kind of scary.
Oh, well, you heard it here. The Shining remains a highly contested movie.
I got to put this in the beginning.
Hereditary's better.
I got to put this in the beginning.
Ari
Hereditary's better.
Aster, man, that's the biggest compliment to Ari Aster.
It is. We
I
talked
say
about
that.
The Shining quite a bit.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Wait.
I really do think it is better.
I don't agree.
What now?
Hereditary is a better movie than The Shining.
No,
It's not.
It's
I
not.
feel that strongly. I really do.
Taylor gasps. Taylor gasps silently.
I loved her.
One of the things that impressed me so much with Hereditary, followed by Midsummer, was just how fresh it felt. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting for a filmmaker that felt new for a long time.
I agree.
I think that's why I'm like getting a little ageist in there is because I see filmmakers like Ari Aster and I'm like, wow, look at that freshness. And then I go back and I'm like, oh, I want to see the inspirations for this kind of stuff, and I look at it and I'm just like, oh wait, I'm seeing all the cliches.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is that with movies like Indiana Jones, I can remove myself from it because it's silly and fun, but I feel like I need to respect this a little bit more.
A movie that takes itself seriously.
Yeah. So I end up reading more into it.
To me, The Shining is still a fresh movie. I still feel like
It felt fresh to me.
Yeah.
I wish I could be.
It didn't feel dated to me at all.
Yeah. And I think why if we're specifically comparing Hereditary to Shining, why I like The Shining more is I think I like The Shining's atmosphere a little more.
I do too.
Yeah. And
I
The
also
Shining,
like, actually, the way it's shot better too.
The Shining hasn't gotten. I love Hereditary. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, and I don't really feel like going back to it anytime soon. But I could go back to The Shining like literally like tomorrow. I could watch that movie again.
I get that. I get that, man. I respect that.
But I'll tell you this: Hereditary is scarier.
Yeah, I think
Hereditary is a scarier movie.
I think I'd argue with anyone on that one.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely scarier. I do think that while in love with the atmosphere of Hereditary, I think it's definitely the one place where he's not a fresh filmmaker. He is directly mimicking this film. He's like, I want the Shining feel.
I wonder if he even,
because that feels pervasive. And like 10 minutes into The Shining, I was like, oh, this is where Ari got it. Yeah. Okay. I'm less impressed with him now, I guess.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
No. But if they didn't hear her
what? Heard what first?
That The Shining is
a pizza with maggots on it.
Is a good movie.
Wow, we are the first to say The Shining is a good movie.
Yeah, well, you heard it here first, folks. Shining is a good film, and we highly recommend it.
What is it, 1979?
Yeah,
That would be the first time you hear it. It's good. The year before it comes out.
9 out of 10 stars.
9 out of 10 pizzas. See you guys.